You're listening to the official podcast of Bloodstock Open Air Festival. Bloodstock Radio.
Yes, indeed, Pepper Keenan is back. Corrosion of Conformity there with the song Cast the First Stone from their brand new album No Cross, No Crown. And this is Bloodstock Radio podcast number 29 with me, Squatter, and we've got a lot to get through tonight. So, maximum content equals minimum Squatter waffle, so straight into our Metal to the Masses update, followed by an interview with King Parrot.
Metal to the Masses update.
Nottingham's Metal to the Masses kicked off this week featuring a very young band with tame, very good, hopeful talent. And we had some re-entrants from last year, Liberator, who've improved and got a new drummer, and also 3 Years of Winter, who this year are donning some face paint. But our winners were Pemphigoid, blistering set, very good. I think they were kind of a mix of a Monomarth meets Satyricon, very good indeed, and a very good attendance, including members of bands who played last year, also bands that are re-entering this year, so it's good to see those, including last year's winners, raised by Owls. The next heat will be at the Maze, featuring Collider, Serenity, Phoenix Lake and Black Hawk Down, who are actually a favourite of mine last year, didn't get through to the semis. Let's see how it goes down this time for them. Just £3, starts at 6:30, and we're still looking for more entrants, so go to the M2TM Nottingham page and you can find out dates, and you can find the email address of where to apply.
Okay, this is Squatter. We are not at the Metal to the Masses Coventry, actually. No. That was last night, but I'm at the Getica gig at the Flapper, and Scott's here. So, Scott, you can give us a result from last night then, mate, huh?
Mate, to be honest, I've slept 24 hours.
But you remember Heat 1, and we had that little chat, and you promised me, and we had that little kiss and a cuddle and things. And,
yeah, I know.
And you said you'd get me an update, and Chris had to do it last week. And, you know, it's not great, mate. So, you must remember any of the bands? Do you remember your band?
I don't even know who I am, mate, I'll be honest. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, I am disappointed, though. Last time you didn't give me the reach around, and, you know, that hurts, mate. Especially when I give you something really, really touching. I give you a kiss.
But you forget it anyway, mate. It'd be instantly forgettable because you've clearly got a memory problem. So
what are we talking about?
I don't know. Should we just let Chris do it?
Yeah,
okay. Here's Chris with the Metal to the Masses Coventry Heat 3 update.
Thank you, Chris, for remembering things.
This is Chris from Metal to the Masses Coventry at the Archers venue. Heat 3 saw Seven and Simi progress to the semi-finals alongside Opus Mortis, Pelusion, Wave and Genova. Heat 4 is this Sunday, where we will see 2 more bands head to the semis. Doors are at 7 p.m.
Band Chat.
Okay, this is Squatter on Bloodstock Radio, and next up we're catching up with Youngie from King Parrot. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
Cool, good. So you finally made it over to the UK, because you were supposed to be with us at Bloodstock last year, didn't quite work out, so a lot of disappointed people that I know. My mate Roger's a massive King Parrot fan. He's going to be seeing you on this tour while you're over here now, but so just give us a brief overview. What happened then?
Oh man, we haven't had much luck getting over to the UK. Unfortunately, we were booked to play Bloodstock, and we were doing recording a new album, and all that sort of stuff was happening at around the same time, and we were trying to get over here, and we only got a couple of festival offers, and we were hoping to get a few more and then jump straight over to the States. And I think, just with there's a couple of things, like with the album recording taking a little bit longer and only getting a couple of festival offers, for a band like us, it's like we're playing the extreme spectrum of metal, as far as that goes, and it's such a long way for us to come and travel. It really makes a lot more sense for us to come over and do a full tour as opposed to coming over and doing a couple of shows. It's like it's not cost effective.
Fair enough.
But we're really obviously we were supposed to come over here and tour with Decapitated, which that situation made that tour non-event as well. So we're here now. We're doing our own headlining tour of the UK, and it's been going great, man. Having a really good time.
Yeah, cool. So you've been over here for a few gigs already so far, and so how's it been going so far? Then, have the audience has been taken to you and going well?
Yeah, it's been great, man. I think UK is one of the places that has really sort of warmed to King Parrot. Being Australian, I think the Australian and the English or Scottish or Welsh sense of humour is a very relative, and I think people here get our banter and our approach and the way that we do it, and I think that's sort of really held us in good stead over here. So yeah.
Well, so whenever I've been in like America, they always think I'm Australian. They always think they always get the English and the English mixed up for some reason.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
It's completely different. It's just I just don't get it.
I don't get it either, man. I don't. Yeah, I mean, English people sound like English people to me, and that's like it's very different. But I think American people think that they don't sound like Canadian people. Yeah. And to me, they kind of all sound the same. Yeah. So I guess it's the same thing.
Yeah. So you did your tour over in the States, then, did you? You've been over there.
We've been over to the States. Yeah, we
Devil Driver.
We were over there with Devil Driver and Superjoint. Yeah, it was, and also we were it was a 5-band tour package, and it was Child Bite opening, and then another band called Cane Hill, and then us, and then Devil Driver, and then Superjoint. So it was a really cool, solid, sort of diverse tour package, and we did that for about just over a month, and it went really, really well. Man. It was great. Yeah, it was really, like I said, diverse tour package. Every band was completely sort of different, so it was a lot of fun, and all great bands to tour with as well.
Yeah, well, we've got Devil Driver coming over to Bloodstock this year in 2018. So are they on form, performing well?
Yeah, they're cool, man. They're really nice guys, really good.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so you got your new album out. You mentioned that you've been making it early on, Ugly produced and that lot. So how's that going? Has it been well received? And is it the actual putting together of it? You guys have been going for a little while now, and that is it. The process of putting albums together and that lot getting any different?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. When we did our first album, I guess we were kind of pretty green, pretty fresh, and not, we just recorded the songs that we had, and I think with this latest album, we're touring a lot all the time. We're either we've done a few tours in the UK, in the UK and Europe now, and we've done a few tours in we've done probably double the amount of tours in the US and Canada. So we've always on the road sort of for the past 3 or 4 years, over there, at home, over here, or whatever. So we try and allocate time to writing now, which has been good. And we've got we're lucky that we've got a couple of studios that we can use. We often go up to Queensland, which is a really nice sort of part of Australia, and take some time away and get away from Melbourne, where most of us live. Get away from the distractions and just sort of allocate a week or two to writing. We've done that a couple of times, and previous to recording Ugly Produce, and that's really good. They're probably our most productive times, and we feel like we're lucky that we get the opportunity to be even able to do that. It's pretty awesome for us to have that available to us, so that we can just concentrate on writing. And I think we took our time a lot more with this new album, and wrote it over the course of a year or so, and then we did some pre-production with our producer / engineer, and then we got into doing the real thing. So
Yeah, cool. What's the scene like in Australia in general? Is there a big punk scene? Is there a big metal scene? What's the actual scene like that? Obviously, we get a few of the bands come over here every now and again, but it seems to me, your rock bands, your AC/DCs and your Airbornes and stuff like that. Yeah. But the more extreme sort of thing, what's that sort of scene like?
Oh, the extreme scene in Australia is great, man. It's really strong at the moment, and there's a lot of bands breaking out and doing really cool stuff. I mean, Thy Art Is Murder, obviously doing great, killing it all over the world, basically, and Psychroptic have been around for such a long time, and one of the great technical death metal bands that in the world, really. And then there's some newer bands that sort of breaking out, like Disentomb have been doing really good as well. They're out on tour with Psychroptic and Dying Fetus and Beyond Creation at the moment in Europe. They're doing so good, and we're actually touring with Disentomb in December in Australia. Really great band. There's some newer kind of bands breaking out as well, like Cursed Earth, another really cool band doing that sort of HM2 thing, which I don't get all these new subgenres and all that sort of shit.
I'm terrible at genres. Awful at genres, man.
If it sounds good, I like it.
Yeah.
But no, the scene's really strong, and it's like from travelling around a lot, you see the different scenes around the world and stuff, and it's kind of similar pretty much everywhere you go, but I think in Australia people are very supportive and very passionate, and they really get behind the Aussie bands, but they there's lots of bands always coming out to tour, and as you probably know, there's only like 5 or 6 cities in Australia where you can really international bands can tour to, so it's sort of it's not like coming over here or touring in Europe or going to the States. It's much different. So it's get in, play your 4 or 5 shows and get out. You can play like smaller places and stuff, which is what we do a lot. We go out into those smaller places and smaller cities and tour right around Australia and do that. But a lot of the international bands don't do that. But it's good, man. There's a lot of great bands out there, and we love getting out. We feel like we're lucky that we have a really good following in Australia, and the Australian bands of fans have been super supportive of us, so we feel it's our duty a little bit to get out there and play. Do the major cities, of course, but also to get out and play in those smaller regional kind of places as well.
It's good that you say about the thriving scene, because we have at Bloodstock, we have a New Blood tent. So we have a Metal to the Masses competition that happen all over the place, all over the place. So Simon Hall, who organises all that, would love to start Metal to the Masses Australia, because that means he gets to go and judge it. So
give me a call.
If you know anyone that wants to start up a Metal to the Masses Australia, I'll ask you on behalf of Simon, and he'll obviously need someone to carry his bag, so I'll have to come as well. We'll have to do all that. But the passion of Australians always comes across. Whatever you're doing, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I'm a football fan, so Tim Cahill used to play for my team, and he's just he's an Everton legend, so he is just like the epitome of sort of passion and that sort of thing. So I can see that you could, in the music scene as well, you must get that from the fans as well a lot.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good. Yeah, we get a lot of energy coming back from the audience a lot, and that's what we try and when we perform live with King Parrot, it's always kind of 100% full energy, full in your face kind of show, and it's grindcore on top of that, so it's sort of, but there's lots of other elements in there too, but it's an extreme full on show, and it's designed for you to get you whatever worries or whatever's going through your head at the time, just to let go of it, forget about it, and get to pant your energy. It's definitely I mean, not to say that other people don't do it like that as well, but for us it's definitely in our blood. It's an Aussie thing, and that comes off a lot when you see King Parrot play live, no doubt.
Excellent, cool. Well, what's the plans for the rest of 2018 then? What's going to be the rest of the things when you get home again?
So we've got some shows. Well, we've got I think another 5 or 6 shows here in the UK. We head from here, we go to Japan. We've got 3 shows in Japan. That's our first time there as well, which is going to be really cool. And then we go to back home to Australia, and we do 5 shows just to capital cities and do our sort of album launch shows. And then it's summer, man. We'll be been touring for 3 or 4 months pretty full on, so we'll have a little bit of time off, play a few like one-off shows here and there in Australia, and then start making plans to come back here and start making plans to go back over to the States and planning more Aussie stuff probably later in the year, and going to as many places as we can. We've had some weird sort of requests, like we had a dude actually come to our show in London the other night and it's like, are you guys interested in playing in Taiwan? I'm like, well, that's the weirdest thing someone said to me today.
In London.
And I was like, I'm like, we'll go to Taiwan, man, absolutely. And we've had some inquiries from people in India and stuff, so it's really great that, and I've seen, like my friends' bands like Cattle Decapitation have been just recently played in Iceland, and people are starting to play in South Africa and stuff now, and my friends from Diodes Murder just played in Israel, and I'm just, it's amazing, you know.
Cool.
So it's really great that the
Great way to see the world.
Man, it is. We're so lucky that we get to do this, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful every day that we get to do it. It's incredible, and you know, just meeting all the people and, you know, making friends and then getting to come back around and see everyone again. It's a really awesome life, and very lucky that we get to do it.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully we'll get to see you at Bloodstock at some point, and we'll get you back over there, and we'll hopefully work out better next time. But so cheers for talking to us.
Absolutely.
And we'll finish off with one of your songs now. So I love the title of this song. It's got to be said. 10. Go on.
Get me.
You can do it. You can do it. Go on. I'll let you do it because it's a belter.
10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Never get mad. No control, no plan. That's about the shit in a 5-pound bag. Never give them what you want. All it's not to survive. Ain't my son, give them the bit of success. Never say less. Is this really what you want? Or is it lie on the gun? You right back and forth, there's no shit in a 5-pound bag. Make the money, then make time to the slip. Did you find it from the drop of the hand? And keep moving from a selfish threat. You never give them what you want. All it's not to survive. Ain't my son, give them the real success. Never take less. Is this really what you want? Or did you lie on the God? You like that, so I did all the shit. And right now, bad.
Hi, this is Vog from Decapitated, and you are listening to Bloodstock Radio.
Okay, that was King Parrot, and thanks to Youngie for talking to us there. An awesome show they put on that night as well. And speaking of awesome shows, 2 of the bands who played at Bloodstock 2017 are doing a UK tour of 10 shows next month, namely King 810 and my lovely friends in Courtesans. That is February the 14th to the 24th. I'm planning to go along to a few of those, so let's check out both those bands. And you may remember that I put out an open invite to contribute to the show. Well, H from 2016 Sophie Stage headliners Acid Rain took me up on that offer, but it's probably not what you might expect from him, so stay tuned for that. Here's some Courtesans, some King 810 and some H on Bloodstock Radio.
And now on Bloodstock Radio, a tour update.
Go back to tears into
The fact that you're ecstatic I'm here is insulting me too truly. Can you believe that shit that I was talking? That surprised look on your face is disgusting. My will is the law, know that. If you know one thing, still that defensive child can be touched by no man. Not even the pre-trial soft fucking ass. Here's something that a square can't understand. If they baptize me in a lake, I'll drink the water till it's wet. My skin's full of bad dead men, skin's full of good women. Some will see when I go, some will never see them again. Cause this hell we're in, it feels like an uphill fight. It feels like I'm wrong when I'm right. It feels like the best night of my life. It feels like the best night of my life. It feels like my skin's too tight. It feels like I've lost my mind. It feels like the best night of my life. It feels like the best night of my life. Scars in my face and they're never coming out. Like my friends in the cage and it's all I think about. Who makes you think I weren't your friends? My dead ones are just fine, those were good men. My incarcerated ones will eventually come home again. You got bullets in your skin, you ain't been where I've been. You're tired of hearing that, yeah, I'm tired of hearing lies about violence and empty threats and what you would do. And if and when Flint, Michigan stepped into the lion's den. Feels like an uphill fight. It feels like I'm wrong when I'm right. It feels like the best night of my life. It feels like the best night of my life. Feels like my skin's too tight. Feels like I've lost my mind. It feels like the best night of my life. It feels like the best night of my life. Scars in my face and they're never coming out. Like my friends in the cage and it's all I think about. It's cold, becoming. It's crawling under my skin. It gets old and it's numbing. And it'll never be the same way again. Cause my skin's full of bad dead men. Skin's full of good women. Some I'll see when I go, some I'll never see them again. Cause this hell we're in feels like an uphill fight. Feels like I'm wrong when I'm right. It feels like the best night of my life. It feels like the best night of my life. Feels like my skin's too tight. Feels like I've lost my mind. Feels like the best night of my life. Feels like the best night of my life. Feels like an uphill fight. Feels like I'm wrong when I'm right. It feels like the best night of my life. Feels like the best night of my life. Feels like my skin's too tight. Feels like I've lost my mind. It feels like the best night of my life. Feels like the best night of my life.
And now on Bloodstock Radio, the Gospel according to H from Acid Rain.
Hello, Bloodstockers. My name is Howard H. Smith. This sounds a bit like an AA meeting, doesn't it? Hi, my name's Howard. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my name's Howard H. Smith. Some of you may know me as the lead singer of Acid Rain. I also have my own podcast, Talking Bollocks, which is a sort of comedy heavy metal podcast. Give it a whirl sometime. I also do spoken word shows. One coming up on April the 6th up in Glasgow. That's the day before Lords of the Land. So that's at the Audio. If you want to come along to that'd be really cool. Plug. I also perform. I've been performing stand-up comedy for the last 20 years. I also perform as a comedy character, Keith Platt. So there you go. That's me. I was lucky enough with Acid Rain to headline the Sophie stage back in 2016, which was amazing. And for those of you that came that night, thank you very, very much. For those of you that couldn't make it, never mind, catch us next time. So I wanted to talk to you all it's kind of odd, really. I'm 47 years old, and I may well not have been here if it wasn't for something that I did about 5 years ago. I went for counselling. I had reached a point in my life where things had become unsustainable. My life, my thought patterns were extremely unhelpful. I was miserable, and I always thought there was something else. I always thought, I went through 4 jobs, miserable in all of them, and it wasn't until I became self-employed and was still miserable that I had to kind of look at myself and say, right, okay, what have all of those jobs got in common? That's right, me. I'm the problem. And because I was self-employed, I had no money, so I went to my doctor and I asked for some help. I said, look, I'm really struggling, and luckily I had a very good GP who referred me on the NHS, and they called me about 10 days after my initial appointment with the doctor, and they did a 20-minute interview over the phone. They asked me if I'd ever done any kind of sort of therapy at all, and I said yes. I've been doing psychotherapy on and off, which was great when I was doing it, but when I stopped doing it, I'd just go back, and this had become a cycle I was stuck in, where I was feeling okay when I was talking to somebody on a regular basis, then I'd stop thinking I was okay, and then I'd end up back at square one, and I wanted to try and not be in that routine anymore, and I couldn't afford to pay for private psychotherapy anymore. So I was recommended for a 16-week course of CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy. And for me, it's I guess it's probably, I don't know if I ever would have ended up taking my own life, but so I'm not going to say it saved my life, but it certainly turned my life around completely. We released as a band, Acid Rain released a single last year called The Man Who Became Himself, which is pretty autobiographical on my behalf. Check out the lyric video on YouTube, kids. You see, even when I'm being serious, I've still got to get a plug in there. But I wanted to talk to you about all of this because for those of you who are aware of me and what I do, I might seem like the last person that you would expect to be going through anything like this. And if there's anybody listening to this who is feeling like any of this is ringing a bell, then hopefully, if you can hear me talking about this, it'll make it easier for you to pick up the phone, and it's just a simple call to a GP that can make all the difference. I mean, it really did turn my life around. And with the worrying statistics about, the biggest killer of men under 50 being themselves, being suicide, it really is something that we need to address, and we need to have an open conversation about, because far too many men are not dealing with their emotions, not processing things that have happened to them either in their childhood or their lives that they keep locked away, they don't talk about, and it ends up killing them. And I for one tried everything to avoid dealing with issues that I deep down knew I had. And in that very first session of CBT, I came out with some stuff that had been in my head for years, and it felt so good to say it out loud. It became real. It became something I could actually handle, I could deal with, as opposed to just something bouncing around in my head. And I'd tried everything. I was changing jobs. I was buying sports cars. I was going out with girls who were much younger than me that I shouldn't have been going out with. And just constantly trying to paper over the cracks of unhappiness in my life. But in myself, I wasn't happy with myself. And you are never going to be happy until you're happy with yourself and your own skin. I remember hearing a very interesting story. Well, it's not a story, but it's kind of a story. Well, it is a story, but it's told in the concept of to describe depression. And that story is that you can wake up in a beautiful house in an amazing part of the world. You get up and you look out the window and there's a beautiful sandy beach leading to a blue ocean. The sun's out, there's a slight breeze. It looks absolutely stunningly beautiful. And you think, my God, this is perfect. And then you realise you're there, ruining it. It doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. If you're not happy in yourself, you're not going to find happiness. And it's I'd hit rock bottom. I knew that I had to do something. And I remember going and filling out, you have to fill out a form when you first get there. And there's various questions about your emotional state. Like, do you find yourself being, really unhappy, very unhappy, completely depressed? How many times? Once a week, twice a week? Questions like this. And there was a final question about suicidal thoughts. And it says, do you have suicidal thoughts once a week, more than once a week, once a day? And there wasn't even a box for me to tick, which was multiple times a day. But when I say suicidal thoughts, I'm going to describe that in a little bit more detail. Nobody suddenly thinks, oh, I know what, I'll kill myself. There's either been several attempts, or it's a thought that grows. And I have enough distance from how I used to feel to be able to look back on it objectively and see where I was. And I know, looking back, I can see that suicide, when you have problems, when you have emotional problems, when you have depression, you get stuck in a vortex of thinking that is completely unhelpful to you, and it's just self-destructive. And when you're stuck in these thought patterns, at some point or another, you get to the end of this thought pattern, and one day suicide pops into your head as a solution. You think, oh, well, yeah, well, that would sort everything out. And you don't think, oh my God, right, okay, well, better go and get some pills. You just think, right, okay, oh, well, there's that. And then the next time you're in that unhelpful place and you're in that down place, suicide's already there. It's already a discussion that you've had once before with yourself. And it starts becoming a regular thing. It starts appearing at the end of those thought patterns every time you get into that deep, dark place. And it happens more and more often. And it almost becomes like a go-to. Oh, well, yeah, look, don't worry too much, because there's always that. There's always that final solution at the end there. And that's, you've always got that in your back pocket. You've got that. Do you want to gamble? Or, you've got that, you're safe. Sorry. But it eats away at you, and it actually, you can actually it's amazing what the human brain can rationalize, and you can end up rationalizing that as a solution to also, you see it as a solution for you, but you also think that's a solution for everyone else as well, because you think you're pretty much worthless, and you're cluttering up other people's lives as well, and wouldn't it just that's actually a cure-all situation, everybody would be better off. And that is obviously not a healthy place to be in at all. And please, this is not just men I'm talking to. This is women as well. I know that the human mind is an incredibly powerful thing, and we all have one, and it really can play tricks on us. And sometimes you can wonder why you seem to be your own worst enemy. But there is also a social conditioning that leads to men not dealing with their emotions properly enough. I mean, even simple things like breaking up in relationships. I remember, I've had countless failed relationships. Hey, I'm 47, I'm not married, and I've got no children. I look back on breakups, and I think I remember being in breakups and seeing girls sort of, they would appear to have completely moved on, within a month. And I'd still be there, still processing it, still wallowing in the death of this relationship. And but what it was is that and also feeling really, real hatred towards her for moving on so quickly. But of course, what she'd done is she'd emotionally processed what had happened. She'd grieved for it. She'd cried her heart out. And got it out and dealt with it and moved on. Whereas as a guy, I wasn't able to cry it out. I wasn't able to emotionally deal with it. And it would take me a year to get over a breakup that a partner would get over in a month. And that's purely because I just didn't have the emotional tools to deal with it, and I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody about it, and it would fester, and that's just one example of there is still this machismo society. There is still this masculine Don't talk about your emotions, don't show emotions, don't cry, don't ask for help. And that is what is holding back so many men of my age from asking for help, and it's just such a shame. And all it takes is a call to a GP. That's all it takes. And not only that, it's, for me, I know it's going to be hard for some people to talk to a stranger, but believe me when I say that talking to a stranger is the best thing, because a stranger's not going to judge you. A stranger doesn't know who you are. A stranger doesn't know your friends. A stranger doesn't know where you work. A stranger doesn't know anything about you. And they don't bring all of the baggage that your friends or family who've known you for years, they don't bring any of that baggage to the conversation. They are purely an advocate for you. They are there to help you. When you talk to them, they've got no preconceptions of who you are, what you do, where you've been, what you're about, what you have done, what you haven't done. They are purely there as somebody to be there for you and you solely. And it is it's a liberating feeling. It really is. And if any of you out there are listening, and if any of this rings true, please do get help. Ring the doctor, and also, look, I'm not a therapist, but if you want to message me, if you want to tweet me, or I'm more than willing to have a conversation with anyone about this, because having done 16 weeks of CBT, I've come out the other side of it so much happier. My life has changed immeasurably, and I've changed as a person, and all of my friends and family are amazed to this day the difference in me. And you need to get help, and it'll get worse before it gets better, but believe you and me, it is worth it. And if you haven't got your health, whether it's physical or mental, what have you got? And the thing about this is, it's not something you can see. If someone's got a broken arm, there's something wrong with them. But this hides, and it is there, and it is there. It has the potential to be there in any of us. So, whatever you're doing whilst you're listening to this, if anything I've said has rung a bell, just make that call. And it just has to be to your GP. And if they can't refer you, then they'll find you somebody who can. And if they can't refer you within that particular practice, then they'll find you somebody who can. It's just something I feel really passionately about, and it's something that I wanted to talk to you guys about, because I am going to be appearing on this podcast occasionally, and it's not all going to be really depressing, okay? And it's not all going to be really serious, because that's not my nature. I am a comedian after all. But I wanted to, I guess I wanted to share with you a little bit more of me than maybe some of you really wanted to hear about. Sorry for sharing more than you cared to know about me. But ultimately, we're a community, and the metal world is just amazing. There's nothing else like it. No other genre of music has the kind of religious devotion and forums that we do, and this Bloodstock podcast is one of them. It's an incredible thing, and I just wanted to try and share a really positive message with you all. And over the coming weeks and months, that you will get various clips of stupidity from me, and you will get me playing my favourite tunes and all the rest of it. But I just kind of wanted to introduce myself to you all, if none of you knew who I was, and which is, I would say, most of you. And for those of you that are aware of my work or whatever, then just let you know that not everything is as it seems on the surface sometimes, and I guess it doesn't hurt to share that with you all. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're all well. I'd like to thank Paul for this opportunity to speak to you all. I will be doing again, as I've said. Check out my podcast, Talking Bollocks, where there won't be any of this. It's just pure me mouthing off like an idiot. And check out some of my comedy if you want. keithplatt.co.uk, acidrain.co.uk. Talking Bollocks is on YouTube and in all your podcast apps. And once again, It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Hope you're all well. Take care. Speak to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bloodstock Radio.
Okay, so that was Acid Rain with The Man Who Became Himself, and before that we had their lead singer H with a very personal account of his own struggles with mental health, which I think we all agree is something we should definitely all be talking a lot more about. So thanks to him for sending that in. It's not what I was expecting at all, but it was really, really good. I will also mention the charity CALM, which is the Campaign Against Living Miserably, which is dedicated to preventing male suicide, the single biggest killer of men under 45 in the UK. They are at www.thecalmzone.net. So if you feel that you don't have anyone else to reach out to, you can reach out to them. Okay, to finish off the show, we're going to play something from one of the 4 bands that was announced for Bloodstock 2018 this week. The other 3 announcements were At the Gates, Songra and Weight of the Tide, but we're going to finish up with some thrash with the awesome Exorder and a song called Slaughter in the Vatican. This has been Bloodstock Radio. Tell your friends about us, tell your colleagues about us, tell your nan about us. I've been Squatter, and this is Exorder.
Band announcements.
Through him, with him, in the unity of the Holy Spirit, all glory and honor is yours, Almighty Father, forever and ever.
By the fans, for the fans. Bloodstock Radio.